Hi, this is Peter with the Final Round Game Shop's first Guild Ball match report. I am going to be playing the Brewers. You can see that set up on the left. Buddy Chris is on the right. He's playing Butchers, which he's very deadly with. So we started playing a lot, and we're really just getting into it and trying to get more people into Guild Ball. So pretty much Chris won the roll-off for who's getting the ball, so he always takes it. On my Brewers team, if you didn't read it, I got Tapper as my captain. He'll be in the middle of this shindig. You can see him. He's the one of the close to bottom left, second from last. Also got Hooper, Scum, Pint Pot, Mash, and Veteran Spigot. Butchers, he's playing Ox as his captain. Boar, Truffles, the pig, which I really did not enjoy in this match. Brisket 1, Tenderizer, the big fat goalie, and Shank, one of his favorite scorers. So, looking at what we got here, we got our setup, and like I said, you can see me setting out the beer tokens for the new Pint Pot model, which, in my opinion, he's pretty amazing. He does a lot of really cool stuff that you'll see in this. Yeah, so looking at it, at the top, you got the cat on the left side. You got Hooper after that. Mash is in the middle. Veteran Spigot's kicking. Sorry, I just ended up figuring out who that was in the middle. Hooper and Pint Pot are on the bottom. And then Chris set up on the right with Shank on top, Truffles, Boar, Ox, Tenderizer, and Briskets all the way down at the bottom by herself. So my idea here was just to kind of kick it barely over the line. And Spigot has no problem kicking. I actually like him a lot more because he lets me control the ball a lot more. So I also got moved up there to threaten Chris. So that was kind of the idea of me kicking off and just getting the ball over there was to threaten the Butchers early as far as the ball goes. Because I pretty much figured that Chris is going to try to kill probably about at least 4 models and score a goal to win. So that's usually his traditional game plan. Whereas I'm looking just to knock out stuff, and if I score a goal, great. That's why Mash and Spigot are there for random goals. So yeah, we're starting to put out influence. Chris has been playing the game a lot longer than I have. He's been playing for pretty much since the game started off a few years ago. And I just started playing Guild Ball probably about, I don't know, probably a couple months ago and really gotten into it. So I just love the way the game plays and flows. Usually on future games, we'll let the players do the talking through it and talk through the activations. But the mic was kind of janky on this since this is our first recording. I had a lot of echoing in it, so I'm just going to kind of talk you through the match. So Chris has got everything kind of loaded up here. It's pretty well spread out because the first turn you really don't know what's going on as far as the player goes. But he's got a few on Brisket because he's going to end up, I figured he's going to try to get the ball and run back to his team. It's a pretty common tactic that Chris likes to use to nerf any kind of alpha strike from his opponent. You can see I'm using the Fisherman tokens. Like I said, just got into this. I just ended up getting Brewer tokens recently. So my setup thought was just to put as much on Spigot as I could, maybe get the ball back quickly. And then the other guys, I'm just trying to run up there and maybe build some momentum. Going second with Brewers is tough. You can see victory points on the bottom, 0-0. So if you don't have the ball with Brewers, it's tough to generate momentum turn 1. But there's a couple cool tricks that I've learned to just try and at least get something with Brewers to get momentum so that way I don't get nerfed on the roll-off on turn 2 for initiative. Alright, so let's see here. Chris walked away from the table just for a second, but he's definitely going to go get that ball with his first activation. It's turn 1 starting off. So he's going to run up with Brisket, and he's going to snap the ball to himself here. And basically, he doesn't have anybody to kick to, so he's just going to kind of get it, run back, and then drop the ball so one of his other teammates can grab it. This isn't Chris's traditional butcher team. He usually just loves a kind of killy team. But he wanted to try Brisket because apparently a lot of people like using her, and he's trying to see what the Jazz is all about. Yeah, so he's definitely moved out of Vet Spigot's. Vet Spigot's right in the middle there. Like I said, I like him a lot better because he has close control. So a tactic that I like using a lot is if I get the ball with Brewers, I like to take Vet Spigot and just basically hide behind my meat wall there of Brewers, just behind that mass, and basically make them come into the center of the board because they gotta come try to get the ball. They're not gonna usually out damage the Brewers. They're very tanky. So I activated Tapper right now. I'm just gonna run him up. Like I said, I don't know where Chris is gonna bring the rest of his guys. So I just ran him up, and I'm putting commanding Aura up. As a general rule of thumb, playing Brewers, it's really good to get Tapper going early. I did try to put up Mark Target to see if I could get that up, because maybe then Spigot could get over there and maybe get the ball. You never know. But it failed. Definitely didn't get it because Brisket's a defense 5, I think, which is annoying. So yeah, that was just Tapper, and it's going to end up going back to Chris here. I play pretty quick Brewers, especially turn 1, because you're just moving up. Meanwhile, while we're kind of waiting on moving, because this is where I realized that, hey, I want sound, and then I think this is where the sound got messed up. But anyways, final round game shop. Just want to do a quick thanks for letting them start to play Guild Ball at the store. The owner, Jacob's, are really great. This is his equipment. We're just trying to get some battle reports out there just so people can enjoy the game. This match is a little bit longer just because this is the first time we're editing it. The sound's kind of not there, so we're just trying to get. We'll get it down. We'll get this. Let's get the battle reports cleaned up. So this is the time that we finally got everything taken care of, and even though the sound didn't work, and Chris is gonna end up activating Tenderizer, which he uses them pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not a big fan of goalies. Obviously, the Brewers don't have one, so I really haven't used one. But I don't like pieces that are just kind of stationary and kind of reactionary. I like stuff that you can manipulate and, kind of use some janky tricks too. So he's going to end up moving running Tenderizer over. And once again, he's kind of doing the ball drop, where he's just going to kind of get the ball, drop it an inch, and then get somebody else over there, and then he'll start kicking to generate momentum. And then once he's done with his movement, he'll just drop it an inch, and that way somebody else can come kick the ball, which is starting to become dangerous just to leave the ball out, because some guys, like the new Locust, can kick the ball now when it's just free, which is kind of scary. So I'm just activating the cat. I didn't do a good job with the cat in this game. I use it in two ways. I either use it as an annoying kind of like way to threaten people to score, or I use it to get Tapper extra influence. But this game, I didn't use him that well. I don't like the St. Bernard though, so I like the cat. I just didn't use him well this game. You'll notice he's just hanging around. Alright, so after I activated the cat, Shank's going to activate, and he's actually going to get the ball. And I think he's going to kick it to Truffles, which you're going to hear me complain about this pig. It was so annoying. This pig was ridiculous. I'll talk about it when it pops up later in the video, but I was very surprised to see how stupid this pig was. It's some pig. Yep, he ends up kicking it. Pig has it. Got the momentum train going. I think he's doing a where'd he go right here, maybe. Yep, he's going to where'd he go up, which this one kind of surprised me that he where'd he go up. Anytime somebody moves closer to the Brewers, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. I like stuff coming closer to my Brewers. Unfortunately, Tapper already activated, so I'm just running Pint Pot up. Got his little beer tokens behind him. Special thanks to Kel for getting me the beer tokens. I think he's trying to stay out of Spigot's range. Which, if you haven't played Veteran Spigot, he doesn't do any damage. He's just purely there to control the ball. He's the football legend. Alright, so he's going to run Truffles up and he's going to kick it to Ox. And he ends up rolling this, and I think that it is successful. We'll see what he rolls here. Yeah, so he ended up getting a success, which kind of ticked me off because, you know, that's more momentum he's getting. I'm starting to fall behind now. I have no momentum, so that's definitely not good. I'm kind of waiting for him to move something up that I can actually hit. So I ended up just after that, I ran Mash up. Mash is just good to be in the middle of the board. He's unpredictable movement. Mash is usually a superstar in my games. I mean, I love him. He's almost an auto bring for me, especially with Tapper. I've experimented with Esther a lot, but so Chris just activated Ox, and he's kicking it over to. Let's see here. Who did he kick it over to? No. Sorry, he didn't activate Ox yet. He did Boar. Boar charge just to get up in the zone, auto zone. Then I ran Hooper up. That was magical. You can see I'm just kind of like, here I am just moving up the board, losing the momentum game. Hating life. So Chris is going to do something kind of janky. It's not janky, but basically he's going to try to kick through that forest here in a second. So if you can't see your target, the target number goes up one. So he's going to end up, I think he's going to move into the forest to avoid that penalty. And that's what we're playing. That we don't have the trees because the trees get annoying on that piece of terrain, so we just call it a forest. Then we basically got two obstacles. We got a wall and a big obstacle up there on the top. I think Chris is asking me a couple things, like just some ranges and just how much, what's like Spigot's tack and some other things. Like I said, he shouldn't care about Spigot coming in on him. He's just gonna basically maybe get some momentum, but that's about it. Chris is being a carpenter right here. He's measuring like 5 times. And he's finally up there. Alright, so he decided not to go in the forest. I think he did that because he didn't want to, hurt his movement. He wasn't sure where I'm going to commit. So he's going to end up trying to kick it through the forest. And he ends up getting it. So even with the higher tack of target number of needing a 5, he still got it. Which was annoying. Once again, yeah, and he set this up basically where I couldn't get to Ox. Which, I mean, I wouldn't send Spigot into Ox anyways. That doesn't make any sense. He also put Tough Skin on Boar, so that was kind of annoying. And then the last activation is going to go to me with Vit Spigot. So I'm asking him about the pig. I'm like, oh, what's the pig? He's telling me. He's like, oh, he's like a 3-1. I'm like, that's kind of annoying. And I'm like, well, if I go that far, then I'm going to have to, go through Boar. And then I'm like, all right, well, let me see if I can get to Ox. All right, it looks like Ox is kind of there, but I can't quite get where I want to be. So I'm just kind of weighing out my options here. I'm looking at Shank because I know Shank is kind of annoying. And I'd like to lock him down, which is tough because, you know, that sexy word to go. So I basically end up settling on Boar because he's only a 3-1. And that seems like the most sensible way for me to generate momentum. Because right now I'm sitting at big 0. And Chris is sitting at, I believe, by this point he's got 3 momentum. So I'm basically hoping just to go in here and maybe get 2, maybe 3 momentum just to challenge him on the next roll. Because, I mean, that's the thing I've noticed with this game. Momentum is very important, and it's really easy to not gain momentum and try to do stuff that your guild's not good at. Like, oh, I'm going to do 3 non-momentous damage. Well, you're not generating momentum, and that's definitely important in this game. So a lot of times you got to check yourself and just say, I know I want to do damage here, but the momentum is more important. So I charge Boar, which Spigots, I mean, that's pretty much I got a wrap right there. That's what I love about Brewers. They got really short wraps. So after looking at this, I decided to do a momentous knockdown and then throw a damage on him. I'm just kind of weighing my options here. Buying another tech. Which I gotta say, my dice rolls were not great in this game. I think you'll notice in a couple because I always put out the numbers of hits I do. You can see I did 3 on that one, so you can notice how many I get. When I do a wrap, I kind of separate them into different rows. And I end up settling with a momentous damage here and a push, trying to bring them a little closer to my boys. Buy one more tech. This will be the last one that I had on them. And I end up doing another momentous push and damage. So it'll end up, I think, being tied on momentum 3-3 after I did that. Alright, and that's going to be basically the turn. And Chris ended up winning it. That made me sad in the pants. So while Chris is kind of setting up, I'm just kind of looking at the turn here. And of course, wherever he puts the influence, he'll change it. But I'm looking at this, and anytime I have a knockdown model, that's usually my first go-to. Like if I can get Hooper on a model that's knocked down second, I'll always do it because he can kill a model that's knocked down pretty consistently. Like I'd say 8 out of 10 times he's going to kill a knockdown model, especially if you cook off Commanding Aura with Tapper first. And yeah, it's brutal. People that walk into that buzzsaw, they usually don't end up winning that game. And you'll see Chris is pretty smart about it. Just because he's not going to feed me, 2 models a turn. That's like worst case scenario playing against Brewers. Losing 2 or more models a turn is really easy to do because the Brewers get rolling pretty good. But like I said, Chris has been playing a while, so he's not going to feed into that, and I know that. So you can see that's kind of why I'm spread out in the middle. That way, wherever he goes, I can react to it. Let's see here. I don't know what he's measuring right here. I don't know if he's checking Shank's range or if it's not brisket. I tell you what, I'm just happy I didn't have to play Mist in this game. Mist is really annoying to play against. Very, very good player. So my game plan here is if I can knock Boar out this turn, I'm going to be really happy. So that's my first goal. And then my second goal is to not give up a score this turn, which is going to be a little difficult because Brisket's right there with the ball. She's probably really close to scoring range. So I'm kind of setting up. I'm going to put 5 on Tapper just because that's pretty standard for me. I'm going to put 2 on... Right there, I put 2 on Pint Pot. You can only get 2, but you can spend those cool beer tokens up to 3 to get 3 more attacks turn or other things. Let's see here. Traditionally, I think I did this on this turn where Hooper only gets 1. Because I usually old Jake to Hooper. He likes sharing drinks with Tapper. Threw on one or 2 on Mash just to get him where he needs to go. And Spigot, I only put 1 on because I really anticipated him dying this turn. I didn't see him surviving. I'm like, you got 4 butchers staring at him in the middle of the board. It's not good. So he's going to activate the pig first. So Truffles charges for 1 because Truffles is a jerk. He charges Hooper. So he ends up doing a momentous knockdown right here. And that is annoying. I can't put it any better than that. So I got this pig, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to kill the pig with Hooper. I mean, I guess that can be a thing. So I decide to activate Tapper because that's usually your first or second activation. So I'm thinking I can either get up in the middle of this, and Tapper might die if I move him too far up towards Boar in the center of the board. But I was looking, and I'm like, you want to know what? I can slow this goal scoring thing down if I go into Brisket. And I got the 2-inch reach, so I don't have to worry about her unpredictable movement. So I end up putting up... Let's see here. I don't think Yeah, I did put Commanding Aura up. Good. So I went base to base with her. That way, if he's like, oh, I'm going to, whatever. Oh, no, I changed my mind because I remember she only had 1-inch reach. So I stay out of it. That way she can't move. He doesn't have any momentum. No, he does have momentum. I don't know why he didn't spend that to boost her defense up. So anyways, I end up coming in. Need 5s to hit her. I think I ran up, so that way he couldn't do it. So I'm rolling 7 dice. I end up getting... I think I got 1 hit. Or did I Yahtzee that? Okay, I ended up doing 2 damage to her, so I only got 1 hit. So that was great. That was annoying. So I roll a couple more dice, buy 1 more tack. I'm like, oh, this is great. Let's go dice. Wake up. This part of waking up. So this was better. I was actually happier with this because I at least got a couple. So I end up knocking her down, which is great because the ball's gonna, kick loose. And that's great for me. I love the ball being back that far. Just because it makes it so he can't score this turn, which is great because Brewers are mid to late game. You don't want people scoring at, too early goals. That's like worst case scenario. So I was actually really happy about that. Negative part is Tapper's kind of out of position. Tapper wants to be with his buddies up in the middle. So that's a problem. Plus I got Ox staring at Tapper. You can see Ox over there on the white line on the right. Just staring at Tapper by the forest. Creeping me out. Just a creeper. Alright, so I think he's going to activate Boar. That way, I mean, if Boar dies, at least he got to activate. So I think that's what Chris was thinking. And Boar is a beast. This guy, God, He's rolling like 8 dice. He's hitting Spigot. Poor Spigot. So this is happening in the middle of the board, right on the Guild Ball logo. So he spent his momentum point to stand up Boar. So he didn't forfeit his movement. And the idea here is if he wanted to, he could push him out of the way and then charge somebody. But he ends up doing 5 damage, and then he does a momentous 3 damage. So he just in 2 attacks does 8 damage to Spigot. So he's sitting on like 6 health. So just like I thought, I'm like, okay, Spigot's probably dying this turn. If that's pretty much for sure. I could have sworn Chris would take him out. So you can see me leaning in there on the left. I'm kind of looking at this like, okay, do I want to activate Spigot? I mean, use his influence, but I think I end up deciding to activate. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about it. I think I decide to activate Spigot to get the influence train going. Or momentum train. I don't know why I said influence. He's outside of commanding aura, so that's annoying. Because Tapper's super out of range down by that forest. Yep, I'm like, I can't get there anywhere. God, why me? So I try to fandango it, see if I can get within 4. Get that +1. And I think I got it. Let's see here. If I'm rolling 6. Yep, I must have been in because I'm rolling 6 dice. So I end up getting 4 hits, which is great. So I end up knocking him down, which I'm super stoked about. Then rolling to him again, needing 2s. Oh, good. I rolled 3 1s. That's awesome. And I end up doing 2 damage to him. So I was pretty happy with that because, I mean, once again, now Hooper is set up really well. I got this pig in the way, so got to deal with that pig. Plus I got Pint Pot there. Pint Pot is so good. Especially Concussion, because that's not once per turn. If you haven't witnessed Concussion on Pint Pot, it's a thing. Stripping off 5 influence off of somebody will really, make people not want to be your friend pretty quick. Alright, so that was Veteran Spigot. I think Chris is trying to figure out what he wants to do. I don't know if he's thinking about, trying to finish Spigot off. So he's got the ball over there. Nobody on my team's threatening it. So he doesn't have to worry about it. That's a tactic I've started using. It's just like if the ball is not in any threat, there's no reason to go get it. Just leave it there, deal with it. End of this turn, maybe next turn. So he's trying to see about Tapper. He's looking at Spigot. So I think he finally ends up activating Shank right there. Which, like I said, Shank's in a weird spot. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do. So Chris does a nifty little trick here. He doesn't go base to base with Spigot. And the reason why he's doing that is because he wants me to counterattack here. But I straight up told him, like, oh, well, since you're not base to base, I'm not going to counterattack because you will conveniently dodge out of the way and waste my counterattack. So Chris has taught me some pretty nifty little tricks just because, I mean, there's a lot of little nuances to this game to try and nerf your opponent. So he's buying an attack on Spigot, needs 3s. And I was surprised here because Shank ends up doing 4 damage on this first roll. And I'm like, this is supposed to be your scorer and he's hitting me for 4. A little ridiculous. He ends up dodging over to the forest because, doing Shank things. bottle falls over, and I yell at Chris. It's supposed to be a precision game, and here you are messing up the board. So, we move on here. He's going to buy another attack. I think he put 2 on him. Now he's got conveniently cover from the forest. Let's see here. So he ends up not rolling as well on this, and he ends up just doing 2 momentous damage. So Spigot's really hurting. I think now he's only sitting on like 1. So pretty much Chris can kill him whenever he wants now. Yeah, got the momentum. And this is where I kind of weighing my options. I could bring Hooper in, which looking back at, and this is why I like battle reports, because looking back at it now, I probably should have taken Hooper into Boar here to try and knock him out. But Pine Pot is also in range. So I guess I figured, he's the slower guy, so let's go ahead and utilize him. So I end up charging with Pine Pot, using his 2. He's checking ranges. Chris is like, oh, okay, you got him in. So the cool thing about Pine Pot is he doesn't get crowded out. So he can be surrounded by five people, and he's still rolling his 6 dice. 7 because he's within Tapper's range. I think that's why I didn't do Hooper, because Hooper couldn't get over there. All right, so I end up rolled really well. I was obviously, if you look at it, really happy with that roll, because I hit with everything. So I end up doing 4 momentous damage and another 2 damage to Boar. So that's 6 right there. Beautiful. Very happy with it. Get that momentum going. Also push Boar a little bit, bring him closer to the gang. And we buy another one. I think that was my first beer token I'm using right there. Or no, this is just... Okay, so I didn't charge on that first one. That was just a regular attack. So, end up just doing another attack. He's checking Commanding Aura. So do the same thing here. I'm going to do another 4 damage, momentous, and 2 regular damage. So we put 12 on him, which is really good. I mean, I could have pressed the issue and maybe bought 2 more attacks and knocked him out, but I got Hooper right there. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, Hooper can take care of it. I mean, and then buy some on the pig. So I thought I was sitting really well with not killing Boar and just generating momentum. So I end up putting up, after I push him here, I end up putting up Come On Then, which is a really awesome heroic. Basically, it means if he wanted to attack Pint Pot, his next attack would be ignored. And I did this because I'm sitting there looking at Ox, and I didn't want Ox to come in and just knock the crap out of Pint Pot, because if he really wanted to, he could do some serious damage to him. So that was my thinking there. I mean, it's not bad to do. It doesn't cost anything. You can either spend a momentum because it's a heroic, or you can spend a beer token. So most people that I've read have been doing beer tokens. However, once I get into melee like this, I can generate so much momentum that I don't care. It's not even funny. So I think he's thinking about Ox. Chris doesn't know quite, I think, what he wants to activate first, because he kind of has some stuff in the way. Shank's in the way. He'd have to go through the forest. I think he's debating what he wants to do with that. Plus, Tapper is super tough. 3-1 with tough hide. Pretty ridiculous. So he decides to activate Tenderizer. He's going to do his same trick. He's going to go get the ball, and then he's going to drop it off close to his gang. So since I've already activated that whole side, if you look, I've already activated Tapper, I've already activated Pint Pot, I already did Spigot, so there's no threat down there now. So he's just like, okay, now I can just activate this, drop the ball, and yeah, that's it. So now I'm sitting here like, okay. And this is where I think I'm going to try to knock out Boar. This is where Hooper kind of shines. So he's got some boxes left on him. So I'm just thinking about, okay, how do I want to generate momentum? I was thinking about hitting the pig first. And then Chris shared with me some of the stuff the pig does. So I ended up buying on Boar. And I ended up using his heroic to stand him up, and it gives him +2 tack, which is amazing. So I'm rolling 7 dice. 6 because of the pig. Stupid pig. I don't know. I got 1 ganging up, so I got +1. So I end up doing, since he's knocked down, I do 4 momentous damage to him, because Hooper likes to shove the boot in, and so he gets that +1 damage to knock down stuff, which is amazing. So I end up hitting again, and I do another 4 damage and 2 damage. Yeah. Nope, Hooper just did 4 damage. So I end up doing 4 damage, and that ends up knocking him out. If you look down at the bottom, you can see the victory points. So that gives me 2, gives me a momentum, and Chris doesn't have any right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. I knocked out a model. Best scenario, I would knock out a different model as well, but Chris hasn't. He's just not going to feed me the models like that. But 2-0 on top of Brewers. I'm pretty happy with that. Because you gotta. I just love playing Brewers because, sometimes you get down and people think they got you, and then Brewers just start knocking models, just knocking the snot out of them, and it's really awesome to see how they can shift the game just with how hard they hit. So after Hooper, he's going to do Brisket, and she's going to do Brisket things, and yeah. So Brisket ends up coming around, and he's going to do some. So he stood her back up with momentum, and he's going to go ahead and generate momentum, and he's going to try to go ahead and basically. I can't remember if he tries to score here or not. I kind of think he does. Can't see how much. No, it can't be this turn. She doesn't have enough influence on her. I think he's trying to soften me up for Ox. He tried to dirty knives me there, but he missed. He rolled He rolled snake eyes. So that's where Brisket is. Mash is going to activate. I'm just going over to the pig, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to start pinging away at this pig. Get a free victory point. Life's good. So here I am, looking at this pig. I'm throwing some dice at it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got some misses. 4 hits, sweet. Mash is awesome. So I'm like, oh, I can do 2 damage and a knockdown. That's my go-to here. And this is where Chris starts sharing with me the beautiful things about Truffles. So Truffles ignores the first knockdown. Stoic. Or sturdy. I'm like, that's great. She's sturdy. It's sturdy. I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh, pig also has tough hide. I'm like, oh, that's super dumb. And I only got 2 hits on the second attack, so that was great as well. So anyways, Mash ends up doing 1 damage and ends up doing a momentous push because I can't knock down the stupid pig. So I end up pushing it. I would have killed somebody if it was stoic as well. So just generating a little momentum, getting this pig. I probably should have pushed the pig away from Hoover. But, you know, sometimes we don't think. And then we got Ox. He decides to charge on in and do Ox things. So he charges Tapper. So I end up doing +1 defense here, and I end up doing counterattack. So I'm like, yeah, 4s, you know, hopefully that'll cut out like maybe half of his dice. And then I was like, hopefully if he doesn't knock me down, or if he just rolls terrible, maybe I can get a counterattack and nerf his whole turn. At least maybe make him waste some momentum points. Oh, so what we're doing here is we're looking up to see if you can do 2 momentous actions. And I think we found, and like I said, I'm kind of new to it, and so Chris is also getting into knowing all the rules because he's applying to be the pundit. And so we're looking up, can we do 2 momentous actions? So question is, can we do the +1 defense, and then can we counterattack? And as far as we found, I didn't see anything in there that says you couldn't. The only thing I can think of now is maybe if you only get 1 action, like as a player, when you get charged, maybe you only get 1 momentous action. But in that area of the book, it didn't say that, so we kind of just decided to play it as you can do it if you have the momentum, because it just says you can't do it more than once against the same model. So he's picking up his whole fist of dice here. And I'm like, alright, he needs 4s. Let's see how many 4. And then I see this, and I'm like, great. He missed 2. Like, that's beautiful. This is going to suck. So he ends up doing knockdown, obviously, because he doesn't want me hitting back. And he did. I think he wrapped, so he got 2 momentous damage as well. So that made me sad. So there's knockdown. And 2 momentous damage. The only thing that sucks for Butchers is their knockdowns aren't momentous, whereas Brewers, we love the knockdown. Our knockdowns are momentous. So he buys another attack. He rolls a little worse here. Makes me a little happy. He missed once. He ends up doing 4 momentous damage, which sucks. I do have Tough Hide, so that's kind of saving me a little bit here, because Tough Hide works against each attack, so it's really good. I love me some Tough Hide. He rolls again. He ends up doing 3 momentous damage here. Just thinking about it real quick. Butchers hit so hard. If I wasn't the tanky Brewers, this would just be awful. And then he's going to buy his last attack. So he rolls on in, and he's going to do another 4 momentous damage. It's pretty rough. I mean, so just keeping track of it, that's 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, Tapper's taking 9 damage. I mean, that sucks. It's about half his life. So then I activate the cat. I want to kind of start getting the cat kind of in the game a little bit. So I just move the cat over. I mean, I'm going to start slowly moving it towards Tapper, just so maybe I can get that extra influence out there on Tapper. But yeah, the cat's just chilling there. And that was turn 2, so I'm up 2-0. End of turn 2. I got some momentum. And I roll 1. Great. So I'm looking here. I got Tapper's down. He's hurting. Brisket's got the dang ball. A couple of my hitters are up there occupied by a pig, who apparently has a knockdown on like a 2. The only thing that I see right now is I'm kind of looking at the scenario, and Chris is looking how he can score. So that's what Chris is going to do here. He's going to try to score and take out at least a model. So he's probably hoping to get 6 points this turn. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, I got to kill Shank because he's right there. And then if I can get to Ox and kill him, that would be great. So that's my goal, but this pig really surprised me with how annoying it is. It really, because you can't take a free strike or a parting blow from it. It's hard to kill because it has like 12 boxes. It's a nightmare for a mascot. Like, I thought the cat was annoying. No, this pig is some pig, let me tell you. That'll do, pig. That'll do. So he's got some influence out there. What's he trying to figure out? I don't know why he doesn't think he can't score. He's in a real great situation there. I think he's just double measuring it so he doesn't waste influence. So he loads her up. I think he put 4 on her. And I think at this point when I'm setting up here, I'm kind of getting ready to concede that goal, because I know there's nothing I can do to stop it. So I think what I'm looking at doing is maybe moving the pig out of the way and setting up a lane for Mash. Because Mash, it's kind of tough to see who's who. But if you look in the middle of that guild ball, or not the middle of the guild ball, but if you look on the guild ball symbol, the guy on the far left, the big base, that's Mash, and he's right in the middle, right where you want him to be, because he can do a 6-inch run and he can get an 8-inch kick. So, and he has unpredictable movement, so that's 2 inches to help you get up the board, and he's in a real great spot. So I'm kind of in a good spot to counter score here, and that's kind of what I'm looking to do. I'm like, okay, if he scores with Brisket, I'm going to kick this ball up the middle of the board and try to score with Mash. I only put 1 on Tapper because I didn't want to load him up because he'd die. I put 1 on Spigot because I expected him to die this turn. So I'm looking at giving up maybe 8 points this turn, which is rough if things go wrong. Oh, man, this is bad. Because Spigot's only got like a life on him. Tapper's down to like 8 or 9 life, which Butcher's can easily kill. So I allocated focus real quick, and he decided to activate Brisket. He's going to try to get this goal set up so he doesn't lose the ball, because I do have some people in the area. So he attacks Tapper. He does a momentous 3 damage, which I'm just like, I wish my scorers could do that much damage. I guess Mash can. Not momentous, though. Attacks again. He's going to end up doing a momentous dodge to get out of there, which I'm super sad about. And he didn't use his movement yet. And this is where I really like this above War Machine, is that you can do your actions and then move, which totally makes sense. It's like you shouldn't be restricted to just, okay, you got to move. Now you can attack. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do because you can switch the activations. So we figure out that he's in range. So she ends up doing her little walkie walk, and he decides he wants her closer to the wall just to help for defensive purposes. So I help Chris out, and he's gonna try to kick this one right in the Wilson. I painted my ball up like Wilson, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, he's gonna try to scream this one in there, and she's a kick 3, and he got it. So he ends up scoring a goal. So now I'm down 2-4, as you can see on the bottom there. So I'm waiting because I want to see where he's going to put her. And I was actually really happy where he decides to dodge this chick. Once I saw him dodge that way, I'm like, sweet, this is ideal for me. So he ends up dodging away. And I'm like, sweet, now I'm going to kick that ball off to the left, and I don't have to worry about her for a few turns. At least 2. So I'm asking about the pig because I want to figure out how fast the pig is so it can't get to the ball. So I throw the ball out to the left. That way my cat is right next to it. You can notice I put an influence on him because I anticipated him having to go get the ball. Okay, it ends up going about 4 inches that way, or 3, whatever that is. 2, 1, I don't know. Right next to the cat, which is beautiful. I'm like, sweet. He's not near the ball. Don't have to worry about it. Game on. So now I'm looking at what I need to do here. So I think this is where I decide to get Pint Pot brawling in the middle. And I think this is where I decide to do some concussions and do some nice fun effects. So I probably should have played this better and peeled off some more influence off of Boar, and maybe that would have saved Tapper. I think I did mismanage that, because I definitely could have peeled at least 2 of those influences off of Boar or Ox. So I think the other thing I was thinking about is if I could score. But I thought if I got the ball and gave it to Mash with the cat, that would give him too much time to react. So I was kind of just decided to leave the ball there and started to move Pine Pot in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in. Let's peel off some of this influence and let's try to maybe kill Shank. Ox is in the trees. That's kind of annoying. So yeah, when you watch yourself do a battle report, I'm kind of yelling at myself right now, like, you just need to move. Just let's go do stuff. Let's go kill some people. You're thinking too long about this. But there are little nuances. Like, you got to think, do I want to charge? If I charge, is that going to give him benefit? I think I'm in his melee, though, so I don't think I can charge. I think I just got to move up here. So I end up moving up. I'm in range of both of them. And like I said, crowding out doesn't matter for Pine Pot. He's just a beast. Just like, bring it on. Come on, then. So I end up buying attack against Shank because I want to try to peel off as much as I can from him. So we end up rolling, and it's not a bad roll. About 50-50. So with Pine Pot, I end up... with Pine Pot, I end up doing 2 damage to him, which is great because that's momentous. Maybe I can actually win the momentum roll. I need 4 hits to do concussion, though. That's the only bad thing about some of these high defense. So we buy another one into him. End up getting 4 this time, which is great because I'm going to concuss him. So I'm going to take one of these influences off of him, which is awesome, and it's momentous. I love doing this. Just like, here, you don't need that. Take that influence. Use a beer cap to buy an attack. And I decide to do Smashing Face just to get some more damage out there and get that bleed token. That sexy bleed token. So, end up... Oh, nope, I bought another attack, sorry. But it looks like I only did 1 damage, so that's great. So then I'm just like, okay, let's do this last one, call it good. I'm going to decide to do Smashing Face. So we get it, goes off. And I think we get it on Shank too. Yep, we do. So, and I'm still not 100% sure if that's the way it actually plays out, because it says you can buy a character play with a beer token. So if you buy a Smashing Face, technically you have to roll to see if it goes off, I guess, just like you would anything else. That's the way I'm playing it anyways, until a pundit tells me differently, or I see it on the forum. Okay, so after that, he's going to activate Boar. Checking out some ranges with the Ox. He doesn't know what he wants to do first. I think he's trying to see if he's out of range of people. So he's going to end up looking at Ox, and he does this really smart because he gets in melee range of both of them, but Tapper's knocked down, and Pine Pot's only got a 1-inch reach, so he's got his little tiny T-Rex arms. Get Nox's tokens out of the way. Alright, so he ends up going in, pretty much gets base to base with Tapper, and he's going to buy an attack on Tapper. So, Boar rolling 8 dice. It's just like, this guy. Charges for free. Only saving grace is you can only give him an influence. Alright, so he's rolling like 12 dice, 13 dice right here. Okay, so he ends up buying attack into Tapper. He ends up putting 5 damage on him, which is momentous. Makes me sick. Guess that's how people feel when Hooper comes in. Chris does a really good job of thinking out what he's trying to do with each activation. I mean, I know it seems like he's taking a little bit to make his plays, but he really is looking at, a couple activations down the line to see how he's going to string his influence out the best way he can. Because some people might, force the issue to kill something that models activation. And he did. He took out Tapper, so now he's up 6-2, and this is starting to get out of control. I'm just like, ugh, scored a goal. Now I'm losing guys. I'm going to lose Spigot this turn probably. I don't know how Spigot's still up, but he is. It's annoying is what it is. So he went ahead and knocked him out, and he gets a free attack basically on Pine Pot as well. So he's going to swing into Pine Pot with his big, 9 dice or whatever he's rolling here. Because he gets free attack. If he does damage, he gets to make a second attack. It's infuriating, and it's called Furious. So that's what he was spending time doing, was just looking up to see if you could put it on a new model, and you can. So he ends up doing 5 momentous damage to Pine Pot, which knocks him down to 15 health left. Because he does not have tough hide. That would kind of make him really good. So you end up doing it, and it's momentous 5, which just hearing that in this game is just, it's freaky. Not good. So after Boar, I end up activating Hooper. So activating Hooper, this is where I really get kind of just mad at this stupid pig. Because I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I can just leave melee. Oh, I could just buy an attack. So I decided to buy an attack on this pig. And I rolled like half of them were misses. I needed like 3s. So I decided I was about to knock the pig down because I forgot, that he couldn't be knocked down. So I was like, oh, okay, I can just knock him down. Realized that's not going to work. So I'm kind of looking, I'm like, man, I really don't know what to do with this pig. So I think the best thing that I saw is, I'm like, I guess I can push him out of my melee, and then I can, potentially do something. The pig had me in a really bad situation here, and you can see I'm taking my time trying to figure it out. Because I didn't know what to do. It's just, I wanted to go kill Shank, but this pig was holding me up, and if I move him too far, he's going to be close enough to the ball and then get the ball. So I think I end up pushing him kind of towards that rock here in a second after I think about it, which is where that pig should go. I should put him right there by that rock. That way he can't get to the ball. He can charge Mash if he wants, but Mash has unpredictable movement. Plus, I don't think he has any influence on the pig, so I don't think he can do that anyways. Pig's just there to take free or parting blows. I think I fell asleep here. Not really, but okay, get a drink. Am I getting, a facial, like a massage? What's going on here? There we go. I think we figured it out. Maybe. So I decide to push the pig near the rock. And now I can go do Hooper things. Oh, this activation did get me mad. You're going to see here in a second. So, I anticipated probably killing Shank here. I'm like, okay, I think Hooper can, even with 2 attacks, kill Shank. Especially if I get a wrap. I've, +1 for, crowding out. I have the heroic going, so I'm +2 attack. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think I can knock him down and start doing some damage. So we roll this. And this is where I'm just like, look at this garbage. Ugh. So I end up doing 3 hits. So I decide to momentously knock him down. Because, that's what he does. And now I'm hoping for like a wrap so I can like just straight up just wreck this dude. So I'm like, alright, I got all these dice again. Let's roll it. Survey says, yeah, okay, we got a baby wrap. So I end up doing 4 momentous damage. Actually, I don't even think I wrapped. I got 1, 2. Well, if I wrapped, I didn't do anything with it. So anyways, do 4 damage, which is nice. So now I'm looking at this. So Shank's not dead. He's hurting. Shank is hurting. I think he's trying to get out of Mash's melee, because Mash could definitely finish him off if I really wanted to. So Chris right now is trying to figure out like, oh, I gotta get away from Mash. This guy's just gonna be so stupid. So he ends up activating Shank. And I think what he's trying to do here is figure it out. Okay, let me kill Spigot, and I can dodge out, and then maybe move where Mash can't get to me, because Mash only has an 8-inch threat. He doesn't move fast, but you know he's pretty good when he does move. So he's gonna go ahead and move as far out as he can. Throw stuff at my models again. Which I gotta look. I mean, I think I was in melee with him. I don't know why I didn't get a parting blow there. And it's just one of those things when you go back and look at it, you always miss a couple things here and there throughout the game. Missed opportunities. So he goes ahead and I think he's going to go ahead and do a dodge with this just to get out of melee. Spigot only has a 1-inch reach. So he's measuring it out. He's like, okay, if I go over here, I'm going to be outside at 8. It's beautiful. So he's out of my 1-inch now. He can totally run away if he wants. But before he does, he kills Spigot. So now I'm down 8-2. Once again, getting really bad. Gosh, man. I don't know how you win a game when you're down 8-2. That's pretty rough. 8-2. Goal, 2 takeouts. He's could get another one very soon. He's got 2 models on Pine Pot. He's close to my goal down there with Brisket in the bottom left corner. So he thinks Shank is out. So I decide to go ahead and activate the cat. I will go ahead and get the ball. And here I'm thinking if there's a way I can, because I put actually 2 influence on the cat. So here I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can pass it and maybe also attack that stupid pig. But after looking at it, there was just no way I could do it. So the purpose of this is I'm going to use the cat to slingshot Mash. So if it works, I'm going to get 4 inches of movement and probably kill Shank and get maybe back in this game. If it doesn't work, the ball's out there and Brisket and Knox are right there and it's going to be a bad day. Yeah. So I end up kicking it. I definitely bonus time it and it's a success. I use that momentum that I generate to do a 4-inch dodge. Mash is in the middle of the board. I got Shank right there. I can score a goal. Life's looking up, maybe. So, here we are. He's got Ox left to activate and Tenderizer. Tenderizer's out. He can't do anything currently. So I think Chris is pretty much like, oh, I can do some damage. I can take the ball or knock him down. I'm going to go ahead and deal with that. So the problem is he's got Pine Pot in the way, so he's got to take care of that. If he can get that though, it could be problematic. So he's measuring it out. He's trying to see if he's got the range. It looks like he has it. So he's going to get Pine Pot out of the way, which isn't tough to do. He's only 3-1. So he gets all his dice. I mean, Butcher, Ox has like 20 dice he rolls when he attacks, so he's good. We're looking. Yeah, so I ran a tournament with Pint Pot. I mean, granted, there was a lot of new players there, but Pine Pot was probably the MVP for me of that tournament, just with how versatile and punch you in the face he is. So he ends up buying against Pine Pot. And he gets enough to do a 2-inch push, which is exactly what he wants because he wants to charge Mash and try to steal the ball from him. I don't know why he's thinking so hard about this. It's the best play, especially if he wants to get that charge. So he finally decides on it. He pushes him out of the way. And he's got this charge set up to go into Mash. You look at him. So 10 spins 2. Gonna charge Mash. And I don't know why he did this. Chris knows this. So he gets there. He's within his 2 inches. I'm like, okay, I'm an unpredictable movement with Mash. And all I hear from Chris is shit. Because Chris knows that he does have unpredictable movement. I'm out of his 1-inch melee now. Have fun hitting Hooper. Okay, so he's hitting Hooper because Hooper's in his melee range. I guess you can do that. I'm not 100% sure. So looking at it, he ends up doing, a couple points of damage to Hooper. Hooper's gonna be fine though. Alright, so then I get to activate Mash, so I'm pretty excited about this activation. I'm like, I'm going to kill this model, and I'm going to score a goal. I'm sitting on 3 influence. Shank is going to die. So I end up buying attack. I'm like, alright, we got like 5 dice. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I need like a couple hits, start putting some damage on them. Life's good. Roll the dice, and nothing hit. Like, alright, let's try that again. So roll, and I'm happier with this roll. I'm like, okay, at least we got that. So I decided to do a couple points of damage, and I knock him down, which is beautiful. Because now he's not messing with me. Got some momentum. So I knock him down. I'm like, I'm going to kick this in. I need to get some points going here. It's the end of the round. We need to get going. Roll. Boom. Nailed the kick. Mash. Super good about it. So we're making it look respectable now. We got 8-6. Only down 2. Feeling pretty good. I'm like, okay, we can bring this back together. As long as he doesn't get to like 10 points here this turn, next turn, I should be good. So I decided not to dodge. I'm in a really good spot. I got Shank right there that I can smack. And waiting on Chris to throw it in. I don't know if he's waiting on me, but I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Alright, so I think if I remember right, I think he's going to throw it back down to the bottom of the screen. Because he's got a nice little conga line set up there with tenderizer, boar, and brisket. Alright. The ball scatters, and we both get to roll off to see if we get it. Because we're both within an inch of it. Like, alright, sweet, I got a chance to get this. Maybe things are looking up. Alright, so looking at it, we roll off. He has the ball. And Chris ends up winning it again. I'm just like, God, I cannot win these stupid initiative checks. You know, we're pretty close in momentum, so it's not like any one player is, you know, getting more, like a ton more. We're both doing a pretty good job at managing it. But he keeps just barely getting it. So, in my head, what I'm thinking he's doing is... Oh, sorry, that was the roll-off. This is the initiative. So all Tenderizer did was move back. And he wins the roll-off, like I said. So he ends up getting it. And I'm convinced in my mind this turn that I'm like, okay, this game's probably over this turn. He only needs to score a goal, which I think he can do this turn. Or he needs to knock out 2 models, and he could do that too. Because he's got Hooper right there. Ox could probably knock him out. Pine Pot's a little weak in the knees. He's down 15. So Boar, if he got lucky, could get it. And yeah, I mean, or he could just score a goal with what's her face, Brisket. So I'm convinced that that's what's going to happen this turn. So I'm starting to load up just to try and take some stuff out, just to make sure that stuff dies in a timely manner, get some points, you know, make this thing interesting. So just waiting for him to load up. I mean, he's got a few over there on Brisket. I think he's looking to score there. Yeah. He's got Ox loaded up. So I was trying to see if I could get set up over here in the corner to threaten Brisket without getting charged by Boar, and totally could do it. So I go ahead and get Tapper down there in the bottom I just placed in, and now I'm going to go ahead and get Veteran Spigot also going. So I didn't like that spot up there, so I come back down and I decided to put Spigot down here at the bottom. That way I can threaten Brisket, maybe even threaten that ball with Boar. So Spigot's now up there. And now we got to put our influence out. So I'm going to load up Tapper because I'm thinking maybe I can kill Brisket this turn. So that's one of my goals. Boar is kind of low, so I'm just kind of like, you want to know what? I think I can kill Boar this turn again. So my goal this turn is to kill Boar, to kill Brisket, and potentially kill Shank. If I can do that, that's going to put me with a win. Because, yeah, I either need to kill a guy and score a goal or knock out 3. And I think if I get lucky, I can knock out 3 this turn. So I just got to see how to manage it. Alright, and I think I'm going to call that good just because I think that's where I want it. Tapper's not in a central location, but hey, I'm trying to get a knockout here. Let's see. I think I was asking about Ox's legendary play and how it's going to inflict me. I'm also talking to one of our players on the side about what I think is going to happen this turn. I even told him, like, the game's going to end, I think, this turn one way or another. Alright, so Chris kind of debating what he wants to activate. I think he ends up eventually settling for activating the pig. So he's kind of thumbing through it, seeing, he's like, well, you know, Brisket's not in a great spot. You know, Boar's kick sucks. So he ends up deciding to take the pig, and he charges into Hooper, which is great. We've got this pig on me again, charging. Dumb pig. Ends up charging, and guess what? Gets a momentous knockdown, puts a couple damage on him. The pig generates 3 momentum. I'm just like, what is going on here? Stupid pigs. So I bought another attack, put another 2 damage on Hooper. Hooper's kind of a little weak in the knees right now. So it goes to my activation. I'm trying to think, and I kind of see that there's an influence on Boar. So in my mind, I'm like, I could strip that off and start doing some, you know, pretty serious damage to him. Cow now Tapper. I'm trying to see if I could kill what's her face this turn. Brisket. So I end up keeping that down on Tapper. I'm just like, I'm not going to activate him yet. I think the smarter move is to try and, you know, do some work on this Boar boy. Alright, so we end up getting about an inch. Looks like it charged in, which is different. Alright, so we're going to chuck this dice in there. Let's see here. Looks like rolling all these dice, we're going to get a concussion roll. So basically he loses his influence. Or no, let's see here. Nope, knocked him down first before the concussion. Spoiler alert. So we roll a direction. Chris decides to play his plot card right here. He's going to make me re-roll this just because apparently he doesn't like the spot. And it ends up getting re-rolled to a slightly different spot. Which apparently he's happy with. I'm happy. I'm kind of keeping this under wraps here because, like I said, it's just once your opponent starts scoring on you, it can get bad quick. So I'm really happy with, even though I've been down, you know, 8-2 or whatever it was at the beginning of this. Really happy that I've been able to keep it pretty close. So I'm deciding at this point, I'm like, I need to waste all these beer caps. I got his influence pulled off of him. I'm going to buy another one. Concussion's awesome. So after we do that, I'm going to end up doing another 3 damage to him. Go ahead and scoot him on up, try to get my other players in range. So we ended up doing it. We ended up doing some more damage. We do about 3 momentous damage to him again. Do another 1 damage to him. Push him a little forward. And I think by the time I do this, he's sitting on 4 health. He doesn't have any influence. He's engaged, so he can't charge. So I'm sitting really good with Boar right there. And then this is when bad things start to happen, and Ox decides to attack Cooper and do his legendary. So Ox's legendary basically says that he negates 1 of your armor, or 1 armor point. So everything within, I think it's his pulse, his aura, whatever the hell it is. Basically, he gets to ignore 1 armor. So not good. And I'm knocked down. So he needs like 2s. So he just attacked Hooper. So he's going to do 5 momentous damage. So bad. Going to buy another attack. And guess what he ends up doing? So ends up buying another attack, and hey, big surprise, it's going to be another 5 momentous damage. So those you're counting, that's 8 damage already, and he's got some left here. Rolls another one, and guess what? That's right, another 5 momentous damage. Great. So he ends up taking Hooper out. Not good. He's at 10. He needs to take out 1 model. So at this point, I'm kind of like at the point right now where I'm like, the game's pretty much decided. I mean, I'm not going to stop playing because that's not the kind of player I am. But in my head, I was like, yeah, I think the regular people got it. I think that the Brewers got it. I don't see how these people of murderous destruction are going to, not kill me this game. So he decides to spend his last bit of influence to charge Pine Pot. Good news is Pine Pot's sitting on 15. Bad news is he uses legendary. So what I decided to do is I decided to play one of my plot cards. See if I show the camera here. So I'm going to do Brace for Impact. So that's going to give me Sturdy. And it's going to go ahead and give me +1 armor. So he's rolling dice, see what he ends up getting. Yep, there it is, Brace for Impact. That's a good card. Even if you're not a damaged team, it's still great to have, just in response to people charging you. But it only works on a charge, it's not for the whole activation. So he charges Pine Pot, and he's going to do 3 momentous damage. He actually ends up missing a lot. So he's kind of picking it out. He's trying to do the best thing he can here, but basically when it's all said and done, he's just going to do 3 momentous damage. And let's see here. He's trying to do a push. Where are we going to go from here? So, Pine Pot's not dead. I mean, Pine Pot's got about 13 left on him. So I think this is where I'm thinking I can get lucky and maybe I can kill Brisket. So down there in the bottom left, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm sitting on like 5 influence. I think I might be able to kill her. So I'm trying to see the best way to do this because she's next to a wall, so I'm going to be -1. Um, just looking at everything, I'm just not quite sure how to best maneuver around here. So I think I just end up deciding to go base to base with her. So that way, I mean, I probably should have just stayed out of 2-inch melee, but. So I'm going to end up moving Tapper. I think I'm asking about her reacher or something right there. So I'm going to move next to her. And going to buy an attack. So this first attack, it's going to be great. We missed with all of it. Basically need 5s on her. Okay, so this one we hit. We go ahead and do a momentous knockdown. So that's going to make things a little bit easier. God, I wish Hooper was still alive. Hooper would finish her off. Alright, so we end up buying another attack, and I think this should be our last attack with. No, I didn't put Commanding Aura up. So I'm just buying attacks on her. I didn't even put Commanding Aura up, which may have been a bad idea. Okay, so Tapper went over there. He's going to end up doing 3 damage this time. Okay, so we end up doing more damage. So by the end of this, I think, looking at what I did to her, I got 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think she was sitting with 2, because I think he's a 10 count. So she's sitting basically on 2. So once again, I'm kind of disappointed by this. I'm kind of looking at this, and I mean, I always have goals when it comes into a turn, and like I said, my goal was to, basically win. I needed 3 knockouts. So far, I don't have any this turn, and I only have 2 models left to activate. So I'm sitting here looking at this like, great. How am I going to get this thing going where, where I can possibly win the game? So that's pretty much my activation with him. I will Jake to Spigot to, get him up to 4 influence. So that way, I'm kind of hoping, and maybe this is asking a lot, but I'm kind of hoping that Spigot can kill Boar. So that's my goal, anyways, is just to see if, Spigot can kill Boar. That way I can get some points. So he's going to activate Brisket. And this is kind of an interesting activation. If I was playing it, I would possibly see if somehow I can manipulate what Pine Pot's doing. Because if he can free up Boar to do a charge, that's going to help him out. Help out the Brewers, or not Brewers, the Butchers just immensely. but he plays this kind of conservative with Brisket. And I think it's just practice because he doesn't play her a lot. So like I said, he's going to activate it. He's going to go ahead and take Brisket into Tapper, which I was kind of surprised because, I mean, Tapper is tough. I mean, I don't know why, unless you're just trying to generate momentum, why you're going to waste those attacks on Tapper, of all people. Be better off going into Spigot right below her. Okay, so anyways, he's buying, and he's going to end up whiffing this first attack, which I'm totally okay with. Because after he takes like the armor away, it's going to be a point of damage, which he ignores. So he buys another one. So he's kind of looking at it again, and once he kind of rolls this, he's going to end up doing a momentous point of damage after Tough Hide. So I get to activate Spigot. I'm out, so that's great because now I can charge Boar. Like I said, Boar had 5 health on him, or sorry, not 5 health, 4 health on him. So I had to hit and wrap and then buy attacks to make sure that it did enough to knock Boar out. Because, like I said, I don't need that guy getting the win for Chris. Alright, so I decided to activate Spigot after kind of looking at it for a minute. And like I said, I'm pretty confident. I mean, if you looked at Veteran Spigot's playbook, it's a lot of ones and a lot of pushes and a lot of dodges and tackle on one. So he's a ball handler. But I figured I could do enough damage to kill this guy. So putting it all together, we got a wrap, and that's going to end up being 2 damage. So I already got him halfway done, which I'm very happy for. Because now literally I just have to hit once on both of these attacks, and that'll knock out Boar. It'll make the game closer. I'll lose feeling better about myself if Boar dies again. So we end up doing some more attacks. I bought 2 more attacks on him, and that's going to end up doing 2 more points of damage to him, which means that, you know, he's knocked out, which is great. So that's going to bring us 10 to 8, so I'm getting closer. If I could score a goal this turn, that'd be great, but I got no way to get to the ball. Especially this turn, there's no way to get to it. But the good news is that Spigot's right next to the ball. So seeing that, he activates Tenderizer. Gets the ball. So he comes over, he's going to do, and I really think, and Chris talked about this with me after this game, I really feel like he should use Tenderizer a little different than what he's doing. Because right now it's just a model that's sitting back there, getting the ball, go kick it to somebody. Okay, well that didn't work. Now we need to, basically just sit there and waste an activation, just hoping somebody gets close enough for you to countercharge. Alright, so after Tenderizer went, Mash is going to go. So we end up doing 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, and that's going to knock Shank out. So very good, very happy about it. And we get to the point where now it is going to be round 5. And we're going to have to see what happens. Oh, I think we're debating the momentum generated because when I did the wrap, I didn't think I told him that I generated 2-1 damage plays. Alright, so Mash still dealing with this. Like I said, I did 2-2 and 2 to him to knock him out. And that's going to bring us to 10 even, which, if you remember from the beginning of the video, not the beginning, but kind of like the middle, I was down like 8-2, so I think the fact that we even got this tied up is pretty good. Yep, so we knocked him out, get 10 points, give us a little more momentum, and yeah, we're ready to go on. And I finally want to roll off. And looking at this, I got Tapper sitting right next to Brisket. And also I got Hooper coming on. So I'm sitting here looking at this like, unless I do something horrible and really mess up, man. See if Hooper has it. I haven't jogged him on yet. I'm about to. There he goes. So I walk him on, and this is where the 2-inch reach comes into just play, because I'm going to allocate influence, and part of the problem is with Tapper that if I move at all, she could dodge out. And also looking at it, if I attack, he could counterattack and dodge out. So I really wasn't too happy with Tapper going first because I thought there was too much to risk. But I looked at Tapper and I'm like, he needs to do 2 damage on 3 attacks. I just need, like, I just couldn't see myself missing with Hooper. So Hooper's on the very bottom, and we're going to go ahead and try to get this W after he gets all this out. Because if I don't kill her, he's going to probably kill Pine Pat. Probably for sure. Alright, so looks like we got all of our influence out. Turn 5 is going to be really short because either I'm going to get it with this kill on Brisket, or Brisket's going to survive and then one of my models is going to die. So she has unpredictable movement, but I stay outside of that. And yeah, I don't charge her because I don't want her getting the +1 defense. So I roll, I got 1-5, which is enough to do basically a point of damage. And we buy one more. So we got enough. That's going to end up doing damage. Brewers win 12-10 with the comeback. Pretty awesome game. Really amazing how late game the Brewers just tend to shine. So the later it goes, you can see me pointed out, Brewers won. So the later the game goes, the better the Brewers are. So this is Peter signing off. I hope you got something out of it. A couple times I lost track of thought, but Brewers won. Let the music play out.